All right, so I just had a quick comment from a friend of mine, Jason Colliver, who had a great idea, and so I was in the middle of editing the next episode of the Sitka Violin that you're now watching, and he made this comment. He said, "Can you explain some of the parts of the violin, because not everyone knows the language you're using?" And I was like, "Man, so right on, because you just get used to this," and so I apologize. So, for everyone that doesn't know, let's give you a quick breakdown of a violin. So this is one that I made last year. It's kind of a weird bird. It's one of my favorites I've made. It has some unusual materials in it, much like the one that we're going to be doing. It also has an unusual finish on it. We can talk about that a little bit. We'll give kind of an anatomy breakdown of this. So starting from the bottom, we have the tailpiece. You'll see this part right here. We'll be making one of those in this series. You have the bridge, okay? And the bridge is what the strings ride over. You have the fingerboard, this piece of ebony right here. And that fingerboard is obviously what your fingers kind of work the strings over on. At the top of those strings, you have something called a nut. And the nut is the terminating spot of the strings, just like the terminating spot of the bridge right there. And that creates your scale length. This is the same scale length as a mandolin, and so they have the same fretting, the same everything. If you change this scale length, you get into different, not to say instruments, but different octaves, different instruments as well. But this is the scale length. Up here you have the Pegbox, which is where all the strings converge onto the pegs. You have the pegs, which is what you're adjusting to tighten or tune the strings. You also have the scroll, this part up here. And the scroll traditionally would have volutes, which are these side pieces that scroll out, right? That's what makes it a scroll. Let's get that, like there, right? So these little things. Now you can also put anything up here you want, but traditionally this is what's done. You also have the neck. You'll hear just the basic thing that's from here to here, okay? The one confusing part a lot of people get is the bouts. And so what we mean by that is this is the upper bout, this part up here, that shape. You have the C bouts, which are these, aptly named because of the C shape, and the lower bout, this part down here. So when I'm bending the ribs, we're going to be bending the lower bouts, the upper bouts, and the C bouts. You also have the F holes, these shapes traditionally right here. And so this is where not only the sound comes out of, but you can voice an instrument. You can make these larger and change it in terms of tone, because that allows the plate on top to vibrate or loosen and change differently. It's very subtle, but a lot of people will have a great skill set to do that. Inside the violin, you have a sound post, which is actually right below the foot on the treble side. Okay, but back a few millimeters. So right about here, going from here to the back of the instrument, you will have a post. And that does two things. It helps connect the sound, it vibrates to the back to spread the sound. But mainly it supports the pressure of the strings on the treble side, allowing the top plate to vibrate and play openly. Underneath the foot on the bass side, you have what's called a bass bar inside of here, and it is a piece of material that runs almost the length of the instrument inside to let the sound travel up to the upper and lower bouts, but also to give it support from the pressure of the strings. This E string is under quite a bit of pressure, and when you press that down on top of that sound post, it helps not break the top plate. So we have our top plate. Okay, this is made out of spruce. Ours for the Sitka violin is obviously made out of Sitka spruce. You have the back plate, and the back of this is made from a piece of buckeye burl. And the top of this is what's referred to as the button, this little piece right here. It is one continuous piece of this material, and when you clamp down the ribs, when you clamp down the neck into the body, that is a very critical kind of architectural thing that holds the neck in place. A lot of the pressure of the violin, when you tighten it up, wants to push the instrument forward. The sound post helps with that, and the button is the one little bit on the neck that keeps it from going this way and helps secure that joint. The joint in the neck is a mortise and tenon joint, basically. It's a socket that the neck fits into. And then you have this word, which is a weird word that autocorrect always hates me for. You write the word purfling in a text and it's like, did you mean something else? No, I meant purfling. Anyways, this little bit in here, not the shape, but the actual little piece of material. So you can get that to focus. You'll see there that white line. It has white and black, 2 blacks and a white. That's what traditionally it is. And this little piece of material runs the length of the violin on the sides. You can see it well here at the back. There we go. Now the purfling serves a couple of purposes. One, historically you can tell the maker by them sometimes. You can see which ones they use. Also regions. Some people use different ones in different countries and different areas. But the functional purpose of that is to prevent damage. That little line goes almost all the way through. It's like 1.5 millimeters, 2 mils from the bottom of the actual plate. And so if there was ever a break, if this instrument got hit, it would break to that purfling line and not continue to crack into the plate. You could repair the edge without compromising the top or back plate. So that's what the point of that purfling is, and we're actually getting into that soon. But I think that's a pretty thorough little breakdown. You'll also hear basic stuff. This is a chin rest, right, like this. If you have the piece that goes here, it's a shoulder rest. But yeah, I think that's pretty much the anatomy, we'll call it that, of our little violin here. Oh, also the Endpin. The Endpin right here is the thing that holds the gut for the tailpiece, right? So this is like a strap, and that pulls on that Endpin. That's why in our blocking inside of our ribs, you have that piece of wood down here. Helps give glue to the back and top, but it gives the tension of that Endpin not to break out. So yeah, Endpin. Yes, I think that's about it. Well, thanks, Jason. I'll continue to take comments and see if there's anything else you guys need to see or have clarification on. I'm always up for it. So yeah, enjoy this episode. It's a little longer now, but I think it's worth it.